This first picture. This first picture was these young ladies worked for the telephone company. They were operators. They were, we used to say hello Central. I guess they just come out in front to have a picture taken. The man on the right is a policeman. You see, he's wearing a badge. An old car, an old family car. I don't know whether mother could drive or not, but she looks like she could. This is, I don't know the model of this car or the make, but it's an oldie. You had to squeeze that rubber bulb there to blow the horn. And those are carbide lamps on the front there. Those are carbide. You have to take a match and light them. About the third bump, they went out. This is the way they used to log. You notice the men are standing on a springboard. That board, they have put a little notch in the tree and put that board on to stand on. They wanted to cut up high. They wanted to eliminate that slash grain in that stump. All they wanted was a straight grain. They had lots of trees, and so they just wanted to pick the best. Nowadays, they take a chainsaw. One man takes a chainsaw and whacks it off right down next to the ground. Here's the one I wanted to show you. This is down in the quarry. That machine you see down there is called a chandler. It's a steam engine. You have to keep a fire in it and keep it going. It's on a track, but it's not self-propelled. You have to pick it up with the crane or the derrick there, or move it by hand. And the engine runs some great big chisel right down each side of it. Cuts right down into the solid sandstone. Understand, this is solid sandstone that we're looking at. And it makes the first cut. Then after that, they use like we have an air hammer nowadays, they had a steam hammer and a steam chisel and cut around the block, around the big cut. And then this one man there you see with the sledgehammer, he's driving wedges down into that crack and breaking that whole piece loose. You can see the one they're working on, it broke. It just broke by chance, but most of them come out in a great big chunk. And after this layer is taken off, then they pick the chandler up with the derrick and set it down to the next level. And that's why he has this machine there with all that cutting material there, and kind of off to the side. He can't get real close to the wall, so that's why you see the ledges on the quarry. If you go to the swimming, this quarry is now a swimming pool in Tenino, and that's where you see the ledges there. And this is the same picture, but it's taken from a bigger picture. It gives you an idea of how big the quarry was, how big the hole was, and how big the hole was compared to the machine. Here's the chunk of sandstone. They put it on a cart. They took it in here. This frame, that wooden frame you see around her, holds about 4 saws. Of course, it starts at the top, and that whole frame moves back and forth and saws right through this sandstone. They'll end up with 3 nice big slabs there. Any width they want, they can adjust these saws. And even the one on the outside, it's smooth on one side, and they can still use it for decoration. Here's another same saw, and just a different picture of it. They're starting about halfway through this block. They had a bunch of these saws. There's 3 of them showed in this picture. I think they had about 7 or 8 of them. It probably took about an hour and a half or 2 or 3 hours to go through this block like this. This is a general view of the quarry operation. You can see the derricks there. They were operated by steam, and they could pick the rocks right up, the stone right up, and put it right on a flat car and ship it. Or they could pick it up and put it on anything to do anything you wanted to with it. This gives a general idea of the whole operation. This is another operation they have. They could do anything with this sandstone. They could make lampposts, fence posts, or this looks like a pile of timber in the front of the picture. That's sandstone. The architect could order any size he wanted for a building. There's a big group of men here. It was not a Mickey Mouse operation. They had lots of men working here. I wish Tenino had a payroll like that now. This is the way they lifted the heavy stones, but with a crane, or the derrick. And I noticed these two men look alike. Maybe they're father and son. I don't know. Here's a good general picture of the whole quarry. In the foreground, that's where our swimming pool is now. And the building off to the left of the picture, that's where our museum is now. It's all been filled in, and the stone taken away, and it's just a swimming pool left. Here's another good picture. This is our swimming pool. I can't tell when these pictures are taken. They're very difficult. Only thing we could guess at, if you really studied it, I assume the hole gets bigger as they keep hauling the stone away. This is where our swimming pool is now. Here's an old picture of the quarry. Notice the little horse and the buggy in the right-hand corner. That's the only way I know it's an old picture. Here's another picture of the quarry. They had some standard sizes, like a lumber yard has 2x4s now. They had some few standard sizes, but most of the stone had to be cut to fit that particular building. That was part of the architect's job to plan that far ahead, and that's the way it operated in those days. They had to plan ahead like we do now. Here's a bunch of young boys. I mean, they're really young. Now, what they're doing there, I don't know. Whether they just started working that young, or whether they're water boys or a cleanup crew, but they are very young. That's all I can tell you about them. This is the day they were blasting. They did some blasting. Some of this stone wasn't used for building. It was used for the jetties down at Westport and Oakland, and they just blasted that loose. The original 1930s jetties built down there were Tenino sandstone, and they didn't want to blast all summer, so the old timers told me they put a whole carload of dynamite in this hillside. And this is what happened. See that great big chunk of rock on the track and bent all to pieces? And a great big rock on the track. And they broke a few windows in town, but they never had to blast the rest of the summer. I noticed these, in the original picture, you could tell that these men look kind of embarrassed there. Some of these men were real artisans. These are the stone carvers. You notice they wear a necktie to work. They're real dudes. They were not only working men, but they were artists. They carved flowers and anything you wanted. This man here, this is Mr. Wilson. He was a part owner one time. See, he's wearing a necktie and the derby hat and the apron. That was their trademark, is wear the necktie and an apron. It also works in with the Mason's Lodge originally too. I don't understand all that, but the apron is a symbol of their lodge and a symbol of stonecutters from way back. This is how they loaded the stone on the flat cars. I think some customers bought just plain stone and did their own cutting. When a photographer come around, you notice some of these men are wearing suits here. When the photographer showed up, I think some men, or the dudes in the office, I think they come out to have a picture taken. This is an unusually large slab. I don't know why. Somebody wanted a special order and a large slab, so they made it for him. This is a bunch of men again. Like I said, I wish we had that payroll now. Another bunch of men. You see another Chandler there, that little steam engine off the right. Some more men. These men are all long gone now. A lot of them were Scots. They come from Scotland. They were stone cutters, and a lot of them were Italians. They come from Italy, from the marble mines there, and some of them come from. This is second generation. Some of them come from Vermont and the New England states, where there's lots of marble and lots of stone cut. This picture here is a quarry that's on Lemon Hill. The quarry is still there, and it's operating now on a much smaller scale, of course. They're not cutting cut stone, but they are blasting loose and selling stone for repair work on the buildings, and also to build fences and porches and things like that. This is a real old picture. This is the sort of thing that they made there in the Tenino quarries. This is a arch, and it was built, if we could read the printing on it, it was made for a fair down in Portland in 1905. And it was sent down there and put together at the fair to show what they could do, just a sort of advertising. And I'm told, I got secondhand information that it's still in Portland in Lancaster Park. I've never seen it, but someday I'm going to go down and find out for sure. You see, this was a big operation. This was the factory and the shed where they had all the tools. And like I told you, this stone can be made into anything, lampposts or round pieces or columns, square pieces or anything they want. It was quite a modern operation in its later days. By this time, I think that everything was run by electric motors. Originally, they had steam, of course. Here's another fireplace. This is a typical thing that they built there. They just made the stone and they shipped it to wherever they wanted it, and they put it together there with the masons put it together with a mortar. There's a very nice sample of a fireplace like this in the Tenino Library. This is art. This is in the point of a building. This man here carved this. That hole in the middle there is for a clock or a window, and of course he had to carve one half to match the other half. It comes in two halves. An original picture I saw on the back of it, it said Chehalis. And I vaguely remember seeing this on a bank in Chehalis many years ago when I was a small lad. There's another picture of the factory. You see, they had overhead cranes and a lot of good things there. It was a real operation, a very important job. They first found this stone about 1870, and it was 1889 before they really got the quarry going. And I presume that they got better and more modern tools time to time, and apparently here they have electric motors. Apparently they're just starting a quarry here. They're just going to clean off the dirt first, and they got to get that first pole up. That's the big job, getting the first one up. After you get one derrick up, well, you can use that to set the next one up, but the first one, that's a problem. I think they just got the pole up the hill and put the bottom of it in a hole and hope for the best.